You need to help your brother. Family comes first, Mariana. I stared at my phone, reading my father's message for the third time. The boldness of his words left me stunned. My hands shook slightly as I sat at the kitchen table in my Milwaukee apartment, trying to make sense of what he was asking, $2,200 for my brother's graduation party. Not a request, but a demand. My name is Mariana. I'm 29 years old, and I work as a dental hygienist at a busy downtown clinic. I'm also a single mother to my incredible 5-year-old son, Lucas. His father left before he was born, which, in hindsight, was probably for the best. What hasn't been for the best is how my own family has treated us over the years. Across the room, Lucas was building a tower of blocks on the living room floor. His dark curls bounced as he focused, his little tongue poking out the way children do when they're concentrating. He had no idea what had happened just 3 days ago. Or maybe he did, and was simply better at hiding his feelings than I realized. 3 days ago was Lucas's 5th birthday party. I had sent invitations to my parents, my brother Tyler, and my younger sister Bethany 6 weeks in advance. I'd followed up with calls, sent reminders, even offered to pick them up myself, though they all lived less than 20 minutes away. The party was set for 2 p.m. I'd rented a bounce house, ordered a custom superhero cake that cost me nearly a week's groceries, and invited Lucas's preschool friends. I decorated the backyard myself, staying up until midnight the night before, hanging banners and stringing lights. Lucas kept asking when his grandparents and Uncle Tyler would arrive. He couldn't wait to show them his new bike, the one I'd spent months saving for. Every time a car passed by, he'd run to the window, pressing his tiny hands against the glass. "Are they here, Mama?" he'd ask. And each time, my heart sank a little more as I told him, not yet. By 3, all his friends had arrived. The bounce house was filled with laughter and noise, but still no sign of my family. Not a call. Not a text. Nothing. I called my mother. Straight to voicemail. I tried my father. Same result. Tyler didn't have his read receipts on, so I couldn't even tell if he'd seen my messages. Bethany, my 23-year-old sister who still lived at home, finally texted around 4:00. Sorry, something came up. That was it. No details. No apology. Just those 3 words. I smiled through the party, helped Lucas cut his cake, and took photos like everything was fine. But inside I was breaking. Watching him glance at the door every few minutes, his hope dimming each time, was unbearable. When the last guest left and I began cleaning up wrapping paper and crumbs, Lucas came over to me. His voice was soft. "Mama, did I do something wrong? Is that why they didn't come?" I pulled him close, holding back tears. "No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong, not a single thing." But as I sat there staring at my father's message demanding money for Tyler's graduation party, something clicked. This wasn't new. It wasn't even the second time. It was a pattern, one I had been too blind, too hopeful, or too desperate for their approval to recognize. Last year, they skipped Lucas's 4th birthday, too. My mother said she had a headache. My father claimed he had to work. Tyler didn't respond at all. 2 weeks later, though, when he needed money for his car, my father called me directly, asking me to pitch in $300, because that's what family does. And like a fool, I paid it. The year before that, they did show up for Lucas's 3rd birthday, but left after 20 minutes because Bethany wanted to go shopping. They didn't even stay long enough to watch him blow out his candles. Now I looked again at my father's text. It read like a business transaction. Tyler's graduation party is next month. We need $2,200 to cover the venue and catering. Your mother and I are contributing $1,500. You and Bethany should split the rest. Send $2,200 by Friday. The math didn't even add up. If they were giving $1,500 and Bethany and I were to split the remainder, how did my share become $2,200? But that was typical of my father. Numbers always meant whatever he needed them to mean. I thought about my savings, the one I'd built for Lucas's future, for emergencies, for security we barely had. Sending $2,200 would drain nearly a third of it, for a party celebrating the same brother who couldn't be bothered to attend my son's birthday. Something inside me hardened. A quiet, steady resolve. All my adult life, I'd tried to be the good daughter, the dependable one who showed up, paid up, and never complained. But where had that gotten me? Sitting alone at my kitchen table, comforting my child as he wondered what he'd done wrong. I opened my banking app and hesitated for a long moment. Then I entered the amount, $1. In the memo line, I typed, "Best wishes," and I sent it, before I could talk myself out of it. My heart pounded as the confirmation appeared on the screen. Payment sent, $1. I had never defied my father before. Growing up, he ruled our home with quiet control, an iron fist hidden behind disappointed silence. He didn't need to yell. His disapproval said enough. My mother supported it all, always defending him, always making excuses. In our family, Tyler could do no wrong. Bethany was the baby who needed protecting, and I was the middle child, the capable one, the one who didn't need help because I could handle things. Later in therapy, I learned the term parentification, when a child is forced to act like an adult. That was me. At 12, I was making sure Tyler's homework was done and his lunch was packed. At 14, when Bethany was born, I became a second mother, preparing bottles, changing diapers, walking the floors at night so my parents could sleep. "Mariana's so responsible," people would say, and my parents would smile proudly. What they really meant was, "Mariana's so useful." I learned early not to ask for help. When I wanted to go to my high school homecoming, my mother said we couldn't afford a dress. 3 months later, Tyler got a brand new gaming console for his birthday. When I graduated, we had cake at home. When Tyler graduated 2 years ago, they threw a restaurant party for 50 people. Looking back now, the pattern seems obvious. But when you're living it, when it's all you know, you convince yourself that's just how families are. That maybe you're the one asking for too much. That maybe you're the problem. Getting pregnant with Lucas at 23 wasn't planned. His father, a guy I'd dated for 4 months, disappeared the moment I told him. My parents' reaction was predictable. Disappointment dressed up as, "We'll support you" promises that never became reality. They skipped my prenatal appointments. Didn't help with the nursery. When I went into labor 2 weeks early and called my mother, panicked, she said she couldn't come. She had plans with Bethany. So I had Lucas alone. Well, not entirely. A kind nurse named Patricia held my hand through the worst of it, but no family, no one who was meant to love me without conditions ever truly did. After Lucas was born, things improved slightly. My parents started visiting occasionally, bringing small gifts. They enjoyed showing off photos of their grandson to their friends. But the deeper issues were still there. Every family event revolved around what Tyler needed and what Bethany wanted. Lucas and I were always an afterthought. When Lucas was 18 months old, my car broke down. Unsure what to do, I called my father. The repair estimate was $800, money I didn't have. He spent 20 minutes lecturing me about financial responsibility before finally agreeing to lend me the money. Lend, not give. I paid him back in full within 6 months, even though it meant surviving on rice and beans for weeks. 2 years later, Tyler crashed his car while driving drunk. My father bought him a replacement vehicle outright, $12,000, without hesitation. Tyler never repaid him. When I asked my mother about the double standard, she said, "Tyler's going through a rough time. He needs our support." Apparently I didn't. About a year ago, I tried to talk to them about it. I sat them down and explained how their favoritism hurt me, how I felt invisible, and how Lucas deserved grandparents who showed up for him. My father listened with crossed arms, face unreadable. When I finished, he said, "You've always been too sensitive, Mariana. We treat all our children the same." My mother nodded, adding, "You're imagining things. We love you all equally." Gaslighting, a word I later learned in therapy. After that talk, I stopped trying to fix anything. I kept basic contact, sent the usual birthday cards, attended holiday dinners, but stopped expecting anything more. Stopped hoping they'd ever see Lucas and me as worth their time. Still, some small part of me had hoped they'd come to his birthday party. I had told them how much it meant to Lucas, how he talked about it for weeks, excited to show them his new tricks on the monkey bars. They didn't even text until 4 hours after the party started. Now, sitting in my kitchen, staring at that $1 payment confirmation, I felt something shift. Not just anger, though there was plenty of that, but something colder, more deliberate. I had played by their rules my entire life, and it had gotten me nowhere. Maybe it was time to create my own. My phone buzzed. A text from my father, "Mariana, I don't see the full payment. There must be a mistake with your bank. Please resend $2,200, I almost laughed. There was no mistake, he just couldn't imagine that I had sent exactly what I intended to. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my contacts and scrolled to a number I'd saved 6 months earlier, but never called. A real estate attorney named Gregory, who had helped a coworker with a property dispute. Because there was something my parents didn't know, something I'd been quietly preparing since Lucas's 4th birthday. The day they showed me exactly how little we mattered. The house I lived in, the one I'd been paying for over 3 years, wasn't just in my name. Legally, it was jointly owned by my father and me. He'd co-signed the mortgage when I was 26, shortly after Lucas was born, supposedly to help me get better rates. At the time, I was grateful. Naive. I didn't realize it was just another way to control me. 6 months ago, after they told me I was too sensitive, I started researching my options. I learned I could refinance the house under my name alone if I could prove stable income and good credit. It would cost money I didn't easily have, but I started saving, cutting every expense possible. 3 months ago, I met with Gregory. He reviewed my finances and confirmed it was possible, challenging but doable. 2 months ago, I began the refinancing process. I told no one, not even my closest friend, Destiny. This was my secret, my safety net, my way out. And 1 month ago, it was finalized. The house was officially mine, completely and solely mine. My father's name was off the deed, off the mortgage, off everything. He just didn't know it yet. I had been waiting for the right moment to tell him, or maybe for him to give me a reason. Now he had. I texted Destiny, "Are you free tonight?" "Need to talk," she replied almost instantly, always. "Come over after you put Lucas to bed." Wine's already breathing. Destiny and I had been friends since college. We met in a biology class, bonded over terrible cafeteria coffee, and stayed close through all the chaos of our 20s. She was the only person who truly understood my family situation because she had witnessed enough of it firsthand. She was at Lucas's birthday 3 days ago. She saw him waiting by the window. She helped me stay composed when I wanted to fall apart. That evening, after Lucas's bath, after 2 bedtime stories and a promise that yes, we'd go to the park tomorrow, I drove 15 minutes to Destiny's apartment. She opened the door before I could knock, 2 glasses of wine already poured. "Okay," she said, pulling me inside. "What happened?" "You've got that look." "What look?" "The I'm about to do something brilliant or crazy look." "Maybe both," I said. I sat on her couch and told her everything. The text from my father, the $1 payment, the house refinancing she didn't even know about. When I finished, she just stared at me, wide-eyed. "You already removed him from the deed?" "Yes, last month. I've been waiting to see if they'd actually show up for Lucas this year." They didn't. And now my father's asking for $2,000 for Tyler's party like nothing happened. Destiny took a slow sip of wine. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. But I'm done. Done being the one who bends, who pays, who shows up and gets nothing back. They'll lose their minds when they find out about the house." "I know," I said. "Your father especially. He uses that co-signature as leverage, doesn't he?" She was right. For the past 3 years, every time I'd tried to push back, my father would remind me about the house he helped me get or the money they provided. It was his trump card, his way of saying I owed them. But I didn't, not anymore. "I'm thinking about changing the locks," I said quietly. Destiny set her glass down. "Do you think they'd actually try to use a key?" "My father has a spare. He insisted on it when he co-signed, said it was for emergencies, but he's used it before. Twice. Once he let himself in while Lucas and I were grocery shopping. Said he wanted to check the water heater. Didn't ask. Just did it. That's not okay, I know. I didn't say anything then because I didn't want another fight. I was trying to keep the peace, but there's no peace left, just me being taken advantage of." Destiny reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Change the locks. Tomorrow, I'll go with you to the hardware store. We'll make a day of it." Tears filled my eyes. "Thank you." "For what?" "For not telling me I'm overreacting. For not saying they're still my family and I should forgive them. Mariana, they skipped their own grandson's 5th birthday and now they want money. No. You don't owe them forgiveness or anything." We talked for another hour, going over practical steps. Change the locks. Keep records. Save every text, every broken promise. Prepare for the backlash, because there would be backlash. My father didn't take defiance well. The next morning, Saturday, Destiny picked me up at 9. Lucas was at a play date with his best friend, a standing weekend plan that gave me time for errands. We went to the hardware store and bought new deadbolts for the front and back doors. The clerk, an older man with kind eyes, showed us how to install them. Simple, he said. Just a screwdriver, 20 minutes. Back home, I replaced both locks. Each turn of the screwdriver felt symbolic, a quiet act of reclaiming control. When I finished, I stood on the porch, staring at the new brass deadbolt. My house, my locks, my rules, my phone buzzed. A text from my father, Mariana. It's been 2 days. I need that money by tomorrow or we'll lose the venue for Tyler's party. Stop playing games, as if my whole life hadn't been one, with rules that only worked for them. I replied, I sent what I can afford. Best wishes to Tyler. The typing dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared, 4 times. Then his reply came, what you sent was insulting. Your brother deserves better than your petty behavior. We'll discuss this in person. I'll be by your house tomorrow at noon. My heart pounded. Tomorrow was Sunday. Lucas would be home. I didn't want him to see whatever was coming. I texted Destiny, my father's coming tomorrow at noon. Can Lucas stay with you? Absolutely, she replied instantly. Bring him at 11. We'll bake cookies. Right then, I made another decision. I called Gregory, my real estate attorney. Hi, Gregory. It's Mariana. We spoke about the refinancing a few months ago. Of course. Is everything okay with the paperwork? Yes, but I need official proof that the house is now solely in my name, something I can show if needed. Can you help? He paused. Is someone disputing ownership? Not yet. But they might. I can have certified copies and a summary letter ready by Monday morning. That would be perfect. Thank you. After hanging up, I sat in the quiet and let the fear surface. I was terrified. For the first time, I was challenging my father's authority, and I knew he wouldn't take it well. But I was also drained. Drained from chasing love that should have been unconditional. Drained from seeing Lucas disappointed again and again. Drained from being the family's doormat. Something my therapist once said echoed in my mind. You can't control how others treat you, only how you respond, and I was responding. Finally. That night, I lay in bed replaying what tomorrow might bring. My father would arrive expecting to scold me, expecting me to fold, to send the money. Maybe he'd threaten to use his key if I didn't open fast enough. But this time his key wouldn't work. And the house he once held over me wasn't his anymore. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined the confrontation. His anger, my mother's tears, accusations of being ungrateful, selfish, a bad daughter. Then I'd think of Lucas asking if he'd done something wrong, and fear turned into resolve. Sunday morning, I took Lucas to Destiny's apartment. I packed his toys and snacks. You get to make cookies with Auntie Destiny today, I told him. Why can't you stay, Mama? I have boring adult stuff to do, but I'll pick you up in a few hours. Then we'll get ice cream, okay? His face lit up. Okay. Destiny hugged me at the door. You've got this. Call if you need backup. I will. I drove home with my hands trembling slightly on the steering wheel. At 11:45, I made sure every curtain was drawn. I didn't want my father looking inside. Didn't want him thinking he still had any claim to my space. Right at noon, I heard a car pull into my driveway. Through the peephole, I saw my father step out, my mother remaining in the passenger seat. Typical. She'd let him handle the confrontation, then later claimed she'd only been trying to keep the peace. He approached my front door with the confidence of someone used to being obeyed. I watched as he knocked, waited, then knocked again, louder this time. Finally, he reached into his pocket and took out a key. Through the peephole, I saw him insert it into the lock. He turned it once, twice, confusion spreading across his face when it didn't turn. He tried again, jiggling it harder. Nothing. Stepping back, he inspected the key like it had somehow changed, then tried again. The exact moment realization hit was clear. His jaw tightened, his face darkened. He began pounding on the door. Mariana, open this door right now. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door slightly, keeping the chain locked so only a few inches of space remained. Hi, Dad. His eyes flicked from the chain back to me. What's going on? My key doesn't work. I changed the locks. Silence. Complete and heavy. I watched him absorb that, his expression shifting from confusion to anger. You changed the locks on your house without telling me? It's my house. I can change them whenever I choose. His face reddened. I co-signed that mortgage. I have a right to access. You co-signed the original mortgage 3 years ago. I refinanced last month. Your name isn't on anything anymore. So no, you don't have a right to access. I had never seen him look so shocked. His mouth opened and closed as if searching for words. Behind him, my mother finally got out of the car, clearly sensing something was wrong. You refinanced? He finally managed. When? Why wasn't I told? I wasn't required to tell you. It's my property. Mariana, what's gotten into you? First, you send your brother an insulting dollar, and now you're changing locks and making legal moves behind my back. I didn't go behind your back. I handled my own affairs. That's called independence. My mother reached the porch. What's happening, Gary? Why are you shouting? Your daughter has apparently lost her mind, he snapped. She changed the locks and refinanced the house without telling us. My mother's eyes widened. She looked at me, confused. Mariana, honey, why would you do that? Because it's my house, and I wanted new locks. But your father's always had a key for emergencies. There won't be any emergencies that require him to walk into my home uninvited. My father's voice rose. This is about the money, isn't it? You're throwing a fit because I asked you to help with your brother's graduation party. You didn't ask. You demanded. And you did it 3 days after you all skipped Lucas's birthday without even a call. We explained your mother had a migraine, he said. And Tyler and Bethany? What were their excuses? Bethany had work, and Tyler was busy with finals, my mother said quickly. Finals ended 2 weeks before Lucas's party. I know. Tyler posted about being done with school all over social media. My father stepped closer to the door. I instinctively moved back, though the chain held firm. You're being unbelievably selfish. Your brother's graduation is a major event. That party matters to him. And my son's 5th birthday didn't matter? That's different. Lucas is a child. He doesn't understand these things. The words stung like poison. My hands shook with anger. Get off my property. My father narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? You heard me. This is my house, and I'm asking you to leave. Mariana, please, my mother said softly, slipping into that soothing tone I knew too well. We're family. There's no need to be hostile. You're right, I said evenly. We're family, which is exactly why you should have been there for your grandson's birthday. Which is why you should have called to apologize instead of demanding money 3 days later. We're just asking for help with a family event, my father said. That's what families do. They help each other. Then where was my help when Lucas was born? When my car broke down and you made me repay every cent? When I worked double shifts to afford diapers while you bought Tyler a $12,000 car? My mother winced. We've always treated you all fairly. That's a lie, and you know it. My father's fury burned. How dare you talk to your mother like that? We raised you better, did you? I shot back. Because it seems you raised me to accept scraps while Tyler and Bethany got everything. You raised me to be useful, and not loved. That's not true, my mother whispered, her voice breaking. We love all our children equally. Then prove it. Send me copies of every check to Tyler over the last 5 years. Every car payment, every credit card bill you've covered for Bethany. Let's compare. Silence. Neither of them spoke. That's what I thought, I said quietly, starting to close the door. My father slammed his hand against it. If you don't open this door right now and talk civilly, there will be consequences. What consequences? You can't threaten me with the house anymore. You have no control here. We're your parents, he barked. We have every right to expect respect and support from our daughter. And I had every right to expect my parents to show up for their grandson's birthday, I said. I guess we're both disappointed. I closed the door, locked the deadbolt, and re-engaged the chain. Through the wood, I heard my father shouting, "This isn't over, Mariana! You can't treat family this way." I walked to the kitchen, my body trembling. I poured a glass of water, trying to calm my breathing. Outside, I could hear my mother trying to quiet him down, their voices fading as they returned to the car. Moments later, my phone rang, my father's name flashing on the screen. I declined the call. It rang again. I declined. A text appeared. You're making a huge mistake. We're going to fix this whether you like it or not. What was that supposed to mean? I stared at the message, unease spreading through me. My father wasn't the type to make idle threats. Another message came in, this time from Tyler. What's your problem? Dad just called me panicking. You changed the locks on the house he helped you buy? That's messed up, I typed back. The house I bought, that I pay for, and that's now solely in my name. Maybe if you'd shown up for Lucas's birthday, we wouldn't be here. Tyler replied, Lucas is a kid. He'll have plenty of birthdays. My graduation only happens once. The nerve of it stunned me. I didn't reply. Within seconds, my phone rang again. Tyler. I ignored it. Then Bethany called. I declined that too. Moments later, a group chat appeared, including my parents, Tyler, Bethany, and me. My father started it. Family meeting tonight at 6 at our house. Mariana, you need to be there. This behavior stops now. I stared at the message, anger rising at the assumption that I'd just obey as usual. I typed one word, no. My father, this isn't optional. Me, I'm an adult. It's absolutely optional, and I'm declining. Tyler, come on, Mariana. Stop being dramatic. Bethany, we just want to talk. Why are you being so difficult? My mother, please, honey, let's work this out as a family. I silenced my phone and placed it face down on the counter. I couldn't handle any more of this right now. I called Destiny. Can I pick up Lucas in an hour instead of now? I need a minute. Take all the time you need, she said. He's having a blast and we're on cookie number 3. Thanks. I'll explain everything when I get there. I sat at the kitchen table and let the tears come. Not sadness, but anger, frustration, and relief all tangled together. For the first time, I had stood up to my father and held my ground. But instead of feeling empowered, I felt terrified. His message had promised consequences, and he always followed through. What frightened me most was not knowing what those consequences might be. An hour later, I drove to Destiny's apartment to pick up Lucas. He ran to the door, face smudged with chocolate. Grinning wide, Mama, we made so many cookies. And Auntie Destiny let me add extra chocolate chips. I scooped him up, breathing in the sweet mix of sugar and soap. That sounds amazing, buddy. Destiny pulled me aside as Lucas gathered his toys. How did it go? About how I expected? He tried using his old key, realized it didn't work, and lost it. I told them to leave. Now they're all melting down in the group chat. Let me see, she said. I handed her my phone. Her face darkened as she scrolled. They're completely delusional. Listen to this. We just want to talk. No, they want to pressure you into giving in. I know. You're not going to that meeting, right? Absolutely not. Good. Don't give them that power. She gave the phone back. What do you think they'll do next? I don't know. That's what scares me. Lucas came bouncing back with his backpack. Ready, Mama? We said goodbye to Destiny and drove home. The whole way, Lucas chatted about cookies and the song Auntie Destiny taught him. His innocence reminded me why I was doing this. Not for myself, but for him. So he'd grow up knowing he deserved better. That evening at 6 sharp, my phone buzzed nonstop. The family meeting had begun without me, and they were clearly angry. Tyler, seriously? You're really not coming? Bethany, this is so disrespectful. My mother. We're all here waiting for you. Please reconsider. My father. Your absence says a lot about your character. I didn't reply. Instead, I made dinner for Lucas, chicken nuggets and green beans, his favorite. We ate together while he told me about a spider he'd seen at preschool. It was this big, Mama. He held his hands apart. Wow, that's huge. Yeah. Miss Katie said it was a garden spider and they're friendly. That's good to know. After dinner, I bathed him, read 2 bedtime stories, and tucked him in. Mama, are we going to have another birthday party for me? My heart ached. What do you mean, honey? Like a do-over party since Grandpa, Grandma, and Uncle Tyler didn't come? Oh, sweetheart, I said, brushing his curls aside. We already had your party, remember? You had your friends there, like it was so much fun. Yeah, but I wanted to show Grandpa my new bike. I know, baby. Maybe next year? I wanted to lie, but I couldn't. I don't know, sweetheart. But you know what I do know? You're so loved. By me, by Auntie Destiny, and all your friends. That's what matters. He thought for a moment. Okay, Mama. Now get some sleep. We have park day tomorrow, remember? His face brightened. Oh yeah. Can we go on the swings? As many times as you want. After he drifted off, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls, 34 texts. The tone had shifted from annoyed to furious to nearly desperate. My mother. Mariana, please call us. Your father is very upset, Tyler. You're acting like a child. Just apologize and send the money. Bethany. I can't believe you're doing this to Mom and Dad. They don't deserve it. My father. Last chance. Call me by 9 tonight or I'm coming to your house tomorrow and we'll settle this. It was 8:45. I had 15 minutes to decide. I didn't call. At 9:15, another message came through. Fine, have it your way. But don't say I didn't warn you. That night, I lay in bed, anxiety twisting in my gut. What did he mean? What was he planning? The next morning, Monday, I dropped Lucas at preschool and went to work. My dental practice was busy, thankfully. The routine kept my mind off things. Between patients, I checked my phone. Still nothing from my family. The silence was unnerving. During lunch, I stopped by Gregory's office to collect the certified documents he'd prepared. He handed me a thick envelope. Everything's here. Certified deed copies, mortgage documents, and a letter from me outlining the ownership transfer. If anyone questions it, this will clear it up. Thank you so much, I said. Are you okay? You seem tense, I briefly explained. His expression tightened. Keep these safe. If things escalate, call the police. Family situations can get messy, but legally, it's your property. I drove back to work with the envelope beside me, feeling a bit lighter. I had proof, official proof, that the house was mine. The rest of the day passed quietly. After work, I picked up Lucas and we went to the park as promised. His laughter on the swings reminded me of everything that mattered. We got home around 5:30. Lucas ran to his toy box while I began dinner. I was chopping vegetables when I heard a car pull into the driveway. Looking out the kitchen window, my heart sank. My father's car. Then my mother's, Tyler's truck, Bethany's sedan. They were all here. I quickly pulled out my phone and messaged Destiny. My entire family just showed up at my house. All of them. Her reply came instantly. Do you want me to come over? Not yet, but stay ready, I wrote back. I watched as they stepped out of their cars and walked toward my door. My father was in front, my mother beside him, followed by Tyler and Bethany. The doorbell rang. Lucas looked up from his toys. Who's that, Mama? Just some visitors, honey. Stay here and keep playing. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. All four of them stood there looking serious and determined. I opened the door slightly, keeping the chain locked. We need to talk, my father said firmly. No, we don't. Mana, please, my mother said softly. Let us in so we can talk like adults. There's nothing to discuss, I replied. I'm not giving you money for Tyler's party. The house is in my name. That's final, Tyler stepped forward. Come on, this is ridiculous. Just let us in. No, my father's voice turned sharp. Mariana, if you don't open this door right now, we're going to have a serious problem. I'm not opening it. You need to leave. This is our grandson's home too. We have a right to see him. Lucas! My mother called past me. Lucas, honey, it's Grandma. I felt anger rise inside me. Don't call for my son. You had your chance at his birthday party. You chose not to come. We explained that, Bethany said. Why can't you let it go? Because it's a pattern, Bethany. And I'm done pretending it's okay. My father pulled out his phone. Last chance, Mariana. Open the door, or I'm calling the police. I blinked. You're calling the police? For what? You're keeping us from our grandson. That's alienation. That's not what parental alienation means, and you know it. I'm asking you to leave my property. That's my right. We'll see what the police think, he said, dialing. I stood frozen as he spoke into the phone, his tone calm and reasonable. Yes, I need to report a situation, he said. My daughter won't let us see our grandson. We're worried about his safety. He gave them my address, then hung up and looked at me with satisfaction. The police are on their way. Maybe they can talk some sense into you. My hands trembled, but I kept my voice steady. You're making a mistake. The only mistake is yours, he replied. You've forgotten who your family is. We're here to remind you. I closed the door and locked it completely. My heart raced. I had maybe 15 minutes before the police arrived. I needed to be ready. I took out the manila envelope Gregory had given me and spread all the documents on the coffee table. Then I grabbed my phone and opened my photos. I scrolled back to Lucas's birthday. Pictures of the backyard decorations, the bounce house, the superhero cake. Photos showed Lucas waiting by the window, looking out at the driveway, hoping they'd come. I also had screenshots of every message from the week before, confirming their attendance. Every yes will be there was saved. So were the group messages from Sunday, the demands for money, the anger when I refused. I opened my voice recorder and pressed record. If the police were coming, I wanted every word documented. Lucas walked in. Mama, why are Grandpa and Grandma outside? I knelt down. They wanted to visit, but now's not a good time. Some police officers might come talk to Mama. Nothing to worry about, it's just boring adult stuff. His eyes widened. Police, like the ones with sirens? Yes, exactly. But remember, police help people. They'll help Mama explain something. Just stay here and play, okay? Okay, Mama. 12 minutes later, a police cruiser pulled up. One officer stepped out, a woman in her 40s with her hair tied in a bun. She walked toward my porch, where my family still stood. I could hear muted voices through the door, my father's animated tone, my mother's quieter one, the officer asking questions. Then came a knock. Ma'am, this is Officer Patricia Keene with the Milwaukee Police Department. Can you open the door, please? I took a deep breath, grabbed the envelope, and opened the door, this time fully. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me so Lucas wouldn't hear. Hello, officer. Are you Mariana? She asked. Yes. Your father called saying he's worried about your son's welfare and that you're refusing family access. What's going on? My father began to speak, but the officer raised her hand. Sir, I'll hear from her first. I nodded. My son is fine. He's inside playing. Last week was his 5th birthday. My parents, brother, and sister were invited. They confirmed they'd come, but never showed up or called. 3 days later, my father texted demanding $2,200 for my brother's graduation party. When I declined, he got angry. Yesterday, he came here with my mother, and when his old key didn't work, because I changed the locks, he got upset. Today, they all came unannounced. When I asked them to leave, he threatened to call the police. And here we are. Officer Keene listened carefully, then looked at my father. Is that accurate? That's one-sided, my father said. I co-signed the mortgage on this house. I have a right to access. Do you currently co-own the property? She asked. Well, I co-signed the original loan. That's not what I asked. Are you listed on the current deed? I'm not sure, he said. I handed her the documents. Officer, I refinanced last month. My father's name was removed from everything. The house is entirely mine. These are certified copies of the deed and mortgage. She examined them closely. Dates, signatures, stamps, then turned to my father. According to these, you have no legal ownership. Correct? His jaw tightened. The original mortgage is no longer valid, she said. The property was refinanced. It now belongs solely to your daughter, which means she has full authority to deny access and ask you to leave. But she's keeping us from our grandson, my father argued. Is there a custody order or visitation agreement? She asked me. No, I have full custody. Lucas's father isn't involved. Any court orders for grandparent visitation? No, Officer Keene turned back to my father. Then she's within her rights to decide who sees her child. There's no legal issue here, this is a family matter. My mother spoke up. Can't you see she's being unreasonable? We just want to talk and see our grandson. Ma'am, Officer Keene said firmly, what I see is a woman on her own property asking you to leave. That's her legal right. If you refuse, it becomes trespassing. Tyler stepped forward. This is insane. She's our sister. Family relationships don't override property rights, Officer Keene said. Please respect that. Mariana, would you like to file trespassing charges? The officer asked. I looked at my family. My father's face red with anger, my mother in tears, Tyler looking shocked, and Bethany speechless. Part of me wanted to say yes, to show them how serious I was. But another part, the one that was just tired and wanted peace, couldn't do it. No charges, I said quietly. I just want them to leave and not come back unless invited. Officer Keene nodded and turned to my family. You heard her. You need to leave this property now. If you return without her permission, she can file trespassing charges. Do you understand? My father looked ready to argue, but Officer Keene's firm expression stopped him. Do you understand, sir? She repeated. Yes, he replied through clenched teeth. Good. I suggest you all leave now. I stood still as my family slowly walked back to their cars. My mother was crying openly, Bethany comforting her. Tyler gave me a look of anger before getting into his truck. My father was the last to leave. At his car door, he turned to me. You'll regret this, Mariana. You're throwing away your family over pride and money. I met his gaze. I'm protecting my son from people who don't value him. That's something I'll never regret. He got in his car and slammed the door. Officer Keene waited until everyone had driven off before turning back to me. Are you all right? I think so. Thank you for listening to both sides. It's my job, she said. But for what it's worth, you did the right thing. Those documents saved you a lot of trouble. She paused. May I give you some advice? Document everything. Keep records of all communication. If they show up again, call us immediately and consider a restraining order if it continues. I will. Thank you, officer. She handed me her card. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. After she left, I stood on the porch for a moment, just breathing. My legs were weak and my hands trembled, but I'd done it. I'd stood firm, and my family had been made to leave. When I went inside, Lucas was still playing with his blocks, unaware of what had just happened. Is everything okay, Mama? He asked. I sat beside him on the floor. Everything's fine, buddy. Everything's just fine. The next few days were silent. Too silent. My phone, which had been full of calls and messages, was now quiet. No texts from my parents. No calls from Tyler. No guilt-filled messages from Bethany. The silence felt heavier than the confrontation itself. Life went on. Work, preschool pickups, dinners, bedtime stories. Everything looked normal, but I felt like something was waiting to happen. My father's last words kept echoing, "You'll regret this." 4 days later, on Wednesday evening, I received a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it but picked up. Hello? Is this Mariana? A woman's voice, professional and unfamiliar. Yes, who's calling? My name is Jennifer. I'm with Child Protective Services. We received a report about your 5-year-old son, Lucas. I'd like to schedule a home visit to follow up on some concerns. My stomach dropped. What concerns? I can't discuss details over the phone, but this is standard procedure. Would tomorrow at 2 p.m. work? I knew immediately who had done this. Yes, tomorrow at 2 is fine. After I hung up, I stared at my phone, shaking, this time with anger. My father had reported me to CPS, calling me an unfit mother because I refused to give him money or control my life. I called Destiny immediately. He called CPS on me. My father actually called CPS. What? Are you serious? Yes. A caseworker named Jennifer is coming tomorrow at 2. They said there were concerns about Lucas. That's ridiculous. Lucas is happy, healthy, and well cared for. I know. But now I have to prove it. Destiny paused. All right, here's what we'll do. Clean your house tonight. Make sure everything is tidy and safe. Tomorrow I'll come over before she arrives with documentation. What kind of documentation? Preschool records showing perfect attendance. Photos from his birthday party. Proof he's happy and healthy. Character references if needed. We'll make sure there's no reason for concern. Thank you, I whispered. And Mariana, Destiny added, after this, think about that restraining order Officer Keene mentioned. Your father's taken this too far. She was right. I knew she was. That night, after Lucas went to bed, I cleaned like never before, organizing toys, wiping every surface, locking away medicines, filling the fridge and pantry with healthy food. I gathered medical reports, preschool updates, and growth charts. I barely slept. The next day, I took a personal day off work. Destiny arrived at noon with a folder of papers. Preschool records, she said, laying them on the table. I talked to Miss Katie. She wrote a letter about Lucas's progress and behavior. She noted your punctuality, participation in conferences, and volunteer work. She had done that for me. When I told her that someone had reported me to CPS, she was shocked. She said it was clearly a malicious act, and assured me she'd be willing to testify to that if needed. I felt tears sting my eyes. I don't deserve you? Yes. You do, she continued. I also have photos from the birthday party, your pediatrician's contact details, and a list of character references, including myself, Miss Katie, and 3 of your coworkers who've known you for years. At exactly 2 Tawait, Jennifer from CPS arrived. She was younger than I had imagined, probably in her early 30s, with kind eyes and a professional attitude. I welcomed her in and introduced Destiny as my friend who was there for moral support. Jennifer walked around the house, taking notes. She inspected Lucas's room, the kitchen, and the bathroom. She made sure that cleaning products were safely stored, that smoke detectors were functioning, and that everything was tidy and well-maintained. Then she asked to speak with Lucas. I brought him out from his room where he'd been playing. He looked at Jennifer curiously but showed no fear. Hi, Lucas. My name is Jennifer. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay? Okay, he replied, climbing onto the couch beside me. Do you like living here? Yeah, I have my own room with dinosaur sheets. That sounds fun. Does your mom make sure you have food to eat? Uh-huh. We had chicken nuggets yesterday and my favorite. Does your mom ever hurt or scare you? Lucas looked confused. No, Mama gives the best hugs. Jennifer smiled softly. I bet she does. Do you go to school? Preschool. Miss Katie is my teacher. She's really nice. The conversation went on for about 10 minutes. Lucas answered every question honestly and happily, unaware of the seriousness behind them. Once Jennifer finished speaking with him, I sent Lucas back to his room. She then joined Destiny and me at the kitchen table. I'll be honest with you, Mariana, she said. The report we received alleged neglect, that your child was being denied contact with family members and possibly kept in unsafe conditions. Based on my visit today and my talk with Lucas, none of those claims seem valid. They're not, I replied firmly. Can I ask who made the report? Reports are confidential, she explained, but I can tell you the caller identified himself as your son's grandfather. There it was. Confirmation. My father had reported me because I refused to give him money and had set firm boundaries about my home. Just 4 days earlier, the police had escorted him and other relatives off my property for trespassing. Jennifer raised her eyebrows. I see. Do you have documentation of that? I showed her Officer Keene's card and explained everything. Destiny also shared the documents we had prepared. Jennifer reviewed everything carefully before closing her notebook. I'm going to close this case as unfounded. Lucas is clearly well cared for. Your home is safe, and there's no sign of neglect or abuse. In fact, all evidence shows you're a dedicated and attentive parent. Relief washed over me. Thank you. I will also note in my report that this appears to be a malicious complaint related to a family dispute. If your father calls again with similar allegations, that record will be on file. After Jennifer left, I sank onto the couch. Destiny sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. You did it. It's over. He used CPS as a weapon against me, I said quietly. He tried to take my son away just because I wouldn't obey him. I know, Destiny replied, and that's why you need legal protection. He won't stop until you make him. She was right. I'd hesitated about getting a restraining order. It felt too final, too extreme. But my father had shown he'd go to any length to punish me for standing up to him. The next morning, I called a family law attorney. Her name was Vanessa, highly recommended by Gregory, the real estate lawyer who had helped me refinance my house. Her downtown office was filled with diplomas and family photos that made it feel both professional and welcoming. I told her everything: the favoritism growing up, the financial manipulation, Lucas's birthday, the demand for money, the police report, and finally, the CPS incident. Vanessa listened carefully, taking notes now and then. When I finished, she set her pen down and looked at me seriously. What you're describing is a clear pattern of harassment and coercion. The CPS call is especially troubling. It shows an escalation that could have serious consequences for you and your child. Can I get a restraining order for this? I asked. Absolutely, she replied. You have documented trespassing and a false CPS report. That's more than enough for a harassment restraining order. We can include both you and Lucas. How long does it take? We can file for a temporary order immediately. It takes effect as soon as it's served. Then within 2 weeks, a judge will decide whether to make it permanent. Given your evidence, I'm confident you'll get the permanent order. What restrictions will it include? It will legally prevent your father, and if you choose, your mother, brother, and sister, from contacting or approaching you, your home, your work, or Lucas. Any violation can result in arrest. The idea of legally cutting off my family felt strange, yet necessary. Let's do it, I said. Just my father for now. I'll add the others if needed. Good decision, Vanessa nodded. We'll start with him since he's the main aggressor. We spent the next hour completing paperwork. Vanessa helped me organize all my evidence chronologically. The birthday invitations, confirmations, photos of Lucas waiting by the window, the money demand texts, the hostile messages, Officer Keene's report, and the CPS case number. This is strong evidence, Vanessa said as she reviewed the file. Your father made it easier by documenting his harassment himself. When will he be served? I asked. I'll file today. Service usually happens within 48 hours. Once he's served, he'll receive notice of the hearing date. Leaving Vanessa's office, I felt something I hadn't in weeks. Control. I was finally taking my power back. That evening, while I was preparing dinner, my phone rang. It was Tyler. I'd been ignoring his calls all week, but something made me pick up this time. What? I said, "Don't hang up, please. I need to talk to you about Dad." "I don't want to hear it, Tyler. Just listen. He's losing it, Mariana, really losing it. He's been calling everyone in the family, ranting about you, the house, saying you betrayed us. Mom's worried he might have a heart attack from the stress. That's not my problem. He called CPS on you." I know he did. I told him it was a terrible idea, but he wouldn't listen. I froze. You told him not to? Of course. Even I know that's crossing the line. But he's convinced you're an unfit mother just because you won't let him control your life anymore. Then maybe this conversation should be with him, not me. I tried. We all did. He won't listen to anyone. He's planning something, Mariana. I don't know what, but he keeps saying you need to learn your lesson. My stomach tightened. What does that mean? I'm not sure. I just wanted to warn you. Whatever you're doing to protect yourself, keep doing it. Why are you telling me this? Tyler paused. Because I've been thinking about Lucas's birthday party, how we all skipped it, and how that must have felt for you and him. And then Dad demanded money 3 days later, like nothing happened. That was wrong. I should have said something. But you didn't. No, I didn't. It's easier to go along with Dad than to stand up to him. But calling CPS, that's too far. It's dangerous. Thank you for the warning, I said quietly. But you need to understand something, Tyler. I'm done. I'm completely done trying to keep a relationship with people who treat me this way, including you. I get it, he said softly. Just be careful. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about his warning. My father was planning something. More drama. More punishment. Luckily, I was already one step ahead. 2 days later, on Saturday morning, there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw a man in a suit holding a folder. I opened the door slightly, with the chain still on. Mariana? Yes, I'm a process server. I need to serve these documents to Gary, he said, checking his papers. I was told he might be here. He doesn't live here. This is my house. The address I have is listed as his last known residence. That's incorrect. He's never lived here. I can give you his actual address. I wrote down my parents' address and passed it through the gap. He thanked me and left. I smiled to myself. My father had been using my address, maybe for mail, maybe for legal paperwork. Either way, whatever he was being served with, it would now reach him directly. That afternoon, another process server came, this time for me. I had been expecting it. It confirmed my father had been served with the temporary restraining order. Within an hour, my phone started buzzing. My mother. I ignored the first few calls, then listened to her voicemail. Mariana, what have you done? Your father just got served with a court order saying he can't contact you or Lucas. This has gone too far. Drop this immediately. Call me back. I deleted it. Then Bethany called. Are you serious? A restraining order? Over money? You've lost your mind. Mom is hysterical. Fix this. Delete. A text from Tyler followed. I warned you he was planning something. Didn't think you'd go nuclear first? A restraining order? Really? I replied, he called CPS and tried to have Lucas taken away. I'm protecting my son. Don't contact me again. That evening, Destiny came over with wine and takeout. We sat on the couch while Lucas played in his room. How do you feel? She asked, terrified, relieved, guilty, angry, everything. The guilt will pass. You're doing the right thing, am I? I just got a restraining order against my own father. Your father who filed a false CPS report? Who showed up at your house with your family to intimidate you? Who's controlled you financially and emotionally for years? Yes, Mariana, you're doing the right thing. I sipped my wine. The hearing is in 10 days. Think he'll show up? Definitely. He'll want to tell the judge his side. Make you look like the ungrateful daughter who cut her family off for money. Good thing I have evidence to prove otherwise. The next 10 days were exhausting. I worked, cared for Lucas, and prepared with Vanessa. My family tried everything to reach me. Emails, phone calls, even showing up at my job. Mom made new email accounts to send long messages about how I was tearing the family apart. Bethany came to my office and my manager had to ask her to leave. Tyler sent letters. I saved all of it. Every message, every attempt to reach me, proof of continued harassment. Vanessa said it would strengthen our case. The hearing was on Wednesday morning. I took the day off and met Vanessa at the courthouse. My stomach was in knots. Remember, Vanessa said, answer clearly and truthfully. Don't get emotional. Stick to facts. What if he lies? Then we show the evidence. His words versus your proof. The proof wins. At 9 eyes, we entered the courtroom. My father was already there with his lawyer, a stern man in an expensive suit. My mother sat behind him, red-eyed from crying. Tyler and Bethany were there too. I sat with Vanessa, trying to stay calm. The judge entered, Margaret Sullivan, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and a firm voice. We're here for a harassment restraining order petition filed by Mariana against Gary, she began. Let's start with the petitioner. Vanessa stood and carefully presented our case. The text messages, the money demands, the photos from Lucas's birthday with timestamps, the police report, the CPS case number, and Jennifer's statement confirming the complaint was malicious and unfounded. Your Honor, Vanessa concluded, the respondent has shown a consistent pattern of harassment, escalating to misuse of government agencies as tools of retaliation. This behavior poses a threat to both the petitioner and her child. Judge Sullivan reviewed the documents, then turned to my father's attorney. Counselor, your response, he stood. Your Honor, this is simply a family conflict blown out of proportion. Mr. Gary is a caring father and grandfather who's been unfairly cut off. The petitioner changed the locks on a home he helped her get, refused to attend a family event, and has alienated him from his grandson. He made one call to CPS out of genuine concern. One call to CPS with false allegations that were proven unfounded, Judge Sullivan interrupted. That's in the record. Perhaps he was mistaken, or perhaps it was, as noted, a malicious complaint tied to family conflict. Continue. The attorney shifted uncomfortably. Families argue, Your Honor. That doesn't justify a restraining order. Mr. Gary never threatened his daughter. He only wanted to talk. A conversation that required bringing the whole family to her home after being told to leave? Judge Sullivan said. A conversation that ended with police intervention? He was only trying to resolve things, the attorney said weakly. By trespassing? It was clear the judge wasn't convinced. Does your client wish to testify? She asked. Yes, Your Honor, the attorney replied. My father took the stand, placed his hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the truth. His attorney began questioning him. Mr. Gary, can you describe your relationship with your daughter? I've always tried to be a good father. I supported her whenever she needed help. When she was a young single mother, I co-signed her mortgage. I've always been present for her. What caused a change in that relationship? Things shifted when I asked her to contribute to her brother's graduation celebration. It was a fair request, family members helping each other. But she refused and sent only $1, clearly meant as an insult. Why did you visit her home with other relatives? We were worried. She had changed the locks and stopped communicating. We wanted to make sure our grandson was safe, and regarding the CPS report, I was genuinely concerned. Her behavior had become erratic and she'd cut off family contact. I feared Lucas might not be properly cared for. Cross-examination. Vanessa. Mr. Gary, you stated you've always supported your daughter, correct? Yes. Were you present at your grandson's 5th birthday on the 17th of last month? No, I couldn't make it. I had other obligations. What kind of obligations? I don't recall exactly. You don't remember what was more important than your grandson's birthday, which you had confirmed you'd attend. It was several weeks ago, and your wife, your son Tyler, and your daughter Bethany also couldn't attend. Did they have the same obligations? We're a busy family, too busy to call or send a message to say you wouldn't be coming. Silence. Mr. Gary, how much financial help have you provided to Tyler in the last 5 years? I don't see how that's relevant. Vanessa. Your Honor, it establishes a pattern. Judge Sullivan, I'll allow it. I've helped him when necessary. Approximately how much? I don't keep records, but perhaps $20,000 to $30,000 over the years. And how much have you given Mariana during the same period? She hasn't needed as much help. How much exactly? I lent her $800 once. She paid it back. So you've given your son $30,000 and lent your daughter $800, which she repaid, correct? Tyler has faced more challenges. Do those challenges include you buying him a $12,000 car after he wrecked the previous one while driving intoxicated? Defense objects, Judge Sullivan, overruled. Please answer yes, I bought him another car. He's my son, and Mariana is your daughter. Yet you insisted she repay $800. Does that seem fair? That situation was different. How so? Please explain. He cannot respond. Vanessa continued, systematically dismantling his earlier claims. By the end, he appeared defeated and frustrated. Judge Sullivan's ruling. After reviewing the evidence, it's clear that Mr. Gary engaged in harassment, trespassing, and made a false report to Child Services after his daughter established reasonable boundaries. The temporary restraining order will now be permanent for 4 years. Mr. Gary is prohibited from contacting Mariana or Lucas, directly or indirectly, and must remain at least 500 feet away from their home, workplace, or school. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. Court adjourned. Behind me, my mother gasped, Bethany began crying, and Tyler lowered his head into his hands. All I felt was relief. Outside, Vanessa shook my hand. You did well today. You protected your son. That's what matters. Driving home, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. The restraining order meant 4 years of guaranteed peace. That evening, I received one final text from an unfamiliar number. You may have won today, but you've lost your family. I hope you're happy. It was clearly from my father, using another phone to bypass the order. I forwarded it to Vanessa. Violation of restraining order. She replied promptly. Send it to the police. Keep every record. Continued contact will lead to contempt charges. I reported it to Officer Keene and blocked the number. Over the next few months, my father tried reaching me twice through others. Both attempts were documented and reported. After the second violation, he spent a night in jail. Contact stopped after that. My mother later emailed from a new account, pleading for forgiveness and reconciliation. I didn't respond. Bethany once approached me in a grocery store. I reminded her she wasn't listed in the restraining order. Yet. She left quietly. Tyler stopped reaching out altogether. The outcome was exactly what they'd earned. My father's reputation suffered when people learned about the restraining order. My mother, who had enabled his actions for years, became isolated from family gatherings she once managed. Tyler's graduation party still happened, small, quiet, and underfunded since no one contributed after I withdrew. Bethany, once dependent on our parents, had to take a second job when legal fees drained their finances. Their world, built on control and favoritism, collapsed once I stepped away. As for me, I thrived. Lucas started kindergarten, made good friends, and I received a promotion. Destiny, Lucas, and I spent weekends at the zoo, parks, and museums, surrounded by people who genuinely cared. For his 6th birthday, we held a small party, just his classmates, Destiny, a few close colleagues, and his old preschool teacher, Miss Katie. No family tension, no waiting by the window, only laughter, candles, and love. Watching Lucas with his friends, I reflected on everything. The pain of seeing my family clearly, the courage it took to set boundaries, and the peace that followed. Sometimes, revenge isn't about confrontation. It's about refusing to follow rules meant to keep you small. It's choosing yourself and your child over people who never chose you. After 29 years of trying to earn their love, I finally realized I never needed it. And honestly, I've never been happier.